The picture on the left-hand side is a crude drawing of the aorta, which shows the valve. The heart has valves within them. When the ventricles contract, some valves close, other valves open. The left ventricle is the big pumping chamber, and the outlet valve is called the aortic valve. So when the ventricle contracts, the leaflets open, the blood passes out of the heart. Now, for reasons best known to himself, in about 1512, 1513, Leonardo asked himself the question, how does the valve close? Stupid question, you might think. It's obvious. The heart relaxes, the blood flows back, the valves close. And if you ask most doctors, that's what they'll tell you. And I love it, because it's wrong. It's not the truth at all. What actually happens is as the blood flows through the valve, it forms a whole load of vortices, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. The little red box at the top of the picture on the other side is Leonardo saying how it cannot be that the reflux of blood closes the valve, because it would simply fold the leaflets up and they wouldn't close properly. And we see this on the operating table in surgery. This is a beautiful watercolor in Windsor Library by Leonardo. He was at that time the military engineer for the Borgias. You've all seen the series The Borgias, I guess. An interesting job for him at the time. And Borgia had this waterway where the bank was being eroded. And what you can see is a couple of weirs with holes in them. So Leonardo put some blue dye in the water and mapped the flow of the water. And he came up with one of the earliest laws of hydrodynamics which applies today. And that is when a fluid flows from a large space through a small hole to a big space, it always forms vortices. And the vortex on the right-hand side nearest the bank was actually causing the erosion. Now, he applied this knowledge to the shape of the aortic root. This is where the valve sits. He noticed that there were big bulges in it. And going back to his original observations, here you have blood flowing from a large space, the left ventricle, through a small space, the valve, to a large space, the aorta itself. It must form vortices. And he beautifully described how these vortices would unfold these leaflets, so that as the blood is still flowing through the valve, in late systole, the last part of emptying the heart, these leaflets drift together. So when the blood does reflux, the leaflets are nearly closed. And that's how the valve works. He designed an experiment to demonstrate this and made the very first artificial heart valve, which you can see at the top of the slide there. He made a glass bowl, the same shape, glass bulb, the same shape as the aorta. He pumped water through it, and he fed in grass seeds so he could map the flow of the water and mimic the flow of the blood. Now just stop a minute. This is 1513. There's no heart surgery. There was no meaningful medicine. There was no one he could talk to. It made no sense whatsoever. This is original blue skies thinking. The man was a genius, and it is fascinating how this has actually influenced our thinking today. And here is the full page of drawings put into an animation. None of you knew Leonardo produced a video. Well, here it is, Leonardo's video. And you can see an idea, using his drawing, how these vortices help to push close the valve. We went on, and actually 2 engineers in Oxford in 1968 did the experiment. Nobody had thought about it in the interim, and they proved that Leonardo was right. Some of you may know the journal Nature. It's one of the most difficult journals to get a publication in the world today. This is the only time I've seen an article in Nature with only one reference. And look out, that reference is 500 years old.